want to introduce my guest right now. I told you that I'm a concealed carry holder, have been for a long time, but for a long time before that, I've been a reporter. I was a journalist. I've worked in 4 different television markets and 3 different radio stations across the country. And as a result of that, one thing that I've covered on more than one occasion is the results of somebody having to draw a weapon and use it in self-defense. And the thing that most people don't really think about if they decide to carry a weapon, and now in Missouri, you don't even have to go get a license to do it. If you're 21, you can do it, and most people don't think about what's going to happen on the other side. They just say, well, if it's me or the other person, I hope I've got a gun, I can protect myself. You're going to end up in jail, probably, if you draw your weapon and shoot somebody, or at least in police custody till they work out what's going to happen to you. And I don't know about you, but I don't have an attorney on retainer. I've certainly got some names in my Rolodex I could call, but I don't have somebody that I would run and call if they gave me my one phone call at the jail. Do you? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But I met these guys the other day. They happen to be in the building. They're not advertisers on my show. I'll just say that up front, but I was fascinated by what they do. And they're with a company called U.S. Law Shield. We're joined right now by Art Mester and Wes Kozeny. Wes is an attorney, and Art is with U.S. Law Shield. And what they do is provide people with a way to have some legal protection in the event that you decide to conceal carry or you ever have to use a weapon in self-defense. Guys, welcome into the program.
Thanks,
you.
Welcome.
Mark. Absolutely. So Wes, let me start with you. Art, let me start with you. How did you get involved in this? What drew your attention to it? You've been in the shooting sports for a long time.
Yes, about 20 years ago, I started tactical training, and the very first thing they told me was what to do after you had to use your weapon to defend yourself. Fast forward to today, I got a call from the team that I train with, and they said, hey, would you like to represent this company called U.S. Law Shield? And they now fill that niche that we as the 5% or 3% of the people who actually do a lot of training comes in. They fill that niche for the everyday person. So anyone can buy a membership and be protected by a Second Amendment attorney 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the price is not really greatly expensive. It's a box of ammunition a month.
Okay.
It's $10.95 a month. And you're protected 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
So it gives you access to an attorney, and I'll talk to Wes about that in a moment. But, beyond that, does it give you any liability coverage in return for that?
Liability. I'm not.
Well, I can remember. I'm trying to remember a case a couple years ago where there was a road rage incident, and a guy on a motorcycle reached into a car window and started beating on the driver, and the driver pulled his gun out and shot him through the door, but he didn't kill him. And the guy that got shot ended up suing him for his injuries. So, does your protection extend to any sort of insurance protection for people who carry a gun? I guess I'm asking.
I think I understand the question.
Sure.
Yes. Our attorneys protect our members in criminal and civil court and all appeals.
Okay.
Many of the other options you see available for purchasing this kind of protection don't include all appeals as well. And that's a very, very big point for our membership.
Yeah, I would think so. When you train to carry a weapon, I just went through some advanced training at the range, St. Louis West, and they talk to you about that, about what you needs to be going through your mind in a situation before you decide this is it. I've got to get my weapon out. It can't be the guy's threatened you but then walked away, or somebody comes up and pushes you a little bit. That's not this is the reason I preach to people all the time on this program. I don't care if the law does let you carry a weapon, and because of your Second Amendment rights, you have the right to do that. You darn better well go talk to somebody who knows what they're doing and can counsel you a little bit on what to do in those situations.
Yes, that's true. And we don't see a lot of that nowadays, especially what happens after you have to use your weapon.
Right.
There's very specific things you need to do that will help you make your defense very easy for our attorneys. Training in this is things that most people have never heard of or even thought about. And the worst time to have to worry about this or think about this is when you're standing in your house or
Yeah.
you're sitting in your car and you see someone on the ground, you know, and there's blood and the police come up and they're yelling at you, what happened, put the guy, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
That is really not the time you want to try and start thinking about where can I find a good Second Amendment attorney who's been vetted.
Right, who knows the process, and you know, if you may call somebody up out of the phone book, but if they're a divorce attorney, they may not necessarily have any specialty. So let me bring Wes Kozeny into this, who is the attorney who might take your phone call if you've got this kind of coverage here in the St. Louis area. Wes, welcome to the program. Tell me what happens right after somebody is involved in a shooting using their personal protection weapon?
Right. Thanks, Mark. Great to be here. The first thing is they need to be thinking about, don't say anything to anyone. Don't talk to the police. Don't talk to your neighbors. Don't talk to family members. Don't take a picture and post it on Facebook.
Yeah,
None
please.
of that.
Yeah, no Facebook Live, please. Yeah.
Because they're going to be their own undoing at that point. If they start communicating, they're going to do it poorly because they were just involved in the worst situation of their life, and they're going to get in a lot of trouble. So all they have to do is say, hey, I want to have my attorney present. I'll be glad to cooperate, but I want to have my attorney present, and I won't talk to you otherwise. And then the police have to back off and give you some room. If another police officer comes up, do the same thing. Just over and over, stick with that process. But the big thing people need to do is have a framework in their mind ahead of time, and that's what a lot of the training that Law Shield does, I speak at a lot of the events, is to kind of drill into their head. Like you were saying, out at the range there, they probably did the same thing. The idea that never protect personal property with a firearm. Has to be a threat to human life. And do make sure it's a threat. If there's not a threat, a serious threat to human life, you wouldn't want to use your firearm. And the other huge thing that people make a mistake on, the people you see in the news, they wind up on national media, is don't jump into third-party situations. That's risky for one thing, tactically. It exposes you to great risk to your own life, but it also exposes you to a lot of legal risk because you don't know what's going on in that third-party situation.
Right, and if you draw your weapon in a third-party situation or any situation, you have to fire it at somebody who's threatening you or threatening somebody else, and you miss, and it hits somebody else, then there's some of that extended liability I was talking about a minute ago with Art.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We talked. Now, I want to make sure I'm clear on this because I don't know if I made my question clear. If you have U.S. Law Shield protection, you have the right to call somebody like Wes and say, I'm in such and such police department. I was just involved in an incident. Would you come over here and work with me? And they'll do that. Is there like an umbrella insurance policy over top of that protecting your personal assets or anything like that in the event of a shooting?
Not that I know of for this.
Okay.
No, it's
right.
Mark. It's more in the nature of a prepaid legal plan. So
okay.
on the criminal side, U.S. Law Shield will cover your attorney's fees. And then the good news is if you're successful in defending yourself in the criminal proceeding and make out the defensive justification, that's an absolute defense on the civil side. So they'll pay for your attorney's fees, but if you had a good shoot, there shouldn't be any civil liability as a result.
Sure. So it's almost like having somebody on retainer, correct?
Yes.
That I mean, I don't know, for $10 a month, that seems pretty reasonable. I'm going to state again because I don't want anybody thinking that I've got a couple of my advertisers in here just trying to sell something. I ran into these guys in the hallway and said, hey, I'd like to talk about this because I just think it's something that either people don't think of or maybe they haven't heard about, but I thought it's something my listeners ought to be aware was out there because it seems like for $100 a year or $120 a year, whatever it comes out to, that's a pretty reasonable. You're going to pay a lot more than that for the gun you're carrying. I don't know why you wouldn't extend yourself a little bit of protection in the event that you ever had to use it.
Well, that's true, Mark, and $131.40 a year is what it costs to buy an annual membership. And there are advantages to buying an annual membership. First of all, you get 14 months instead of 12.
Okay.
The second thing is your rate of $10.95 a month or that $131.40 is locked in for life.
No.
So if U.S. Law Shield brings in new benefits to go with it, such as bail bonds or expert witness, their rate may go up, but as long as you maintain that membership, that's the price you're going to pay.
Wow.
Another big advantage is all of the seminars. Anytime the law changes, we bring in law enforcement officers to provide their point of view. We bring in our program attorneys like Wes, who's very effective at explaining to anyone what the law really means and how that affects you and how that affects your situation. And the big thing is to get people thinking.
Right.
Once they start thinking of, gee, I got this, what happens if I have to pull my firearm? If you have to pull it, I'm an older guy. I got a bad heart, diabetic, all that other. 3 guys walk up on me. They got a baseball bat, a crowbar. I draw my weapon. They drop everything, turn around, and walk around the building. They're going to call the police on me. So if I reholster my firearm and walk away, the police are going to put me in jail.
For brandishing.
Right.
Right.
So I have to, as soon as they drop their weapons and walk away, I have to call the police.
And this is the kind of advice you're going to get either out of the seminar or for somebody like Wes.
Yes,
right?
this is the type of information of what you need to do in pretty much any situation. There's only a limited amount.
I preach it all the time, and I hope people are paying attention to it. If they're interested in more information on U.S. Law Shield, how do they go there?
You can go to uslawshield.com. You can also go to gunlawseminar.com, select a state of Missouri, and look at gun law seminars in Missouri area. We have at least 4 going on in the very near future in this area. We have a couple down in the Deloge area, and we attend CCW classes. So if any of your people make that leap, take that CCW class, make sure they ask for U.S. Law Shield to be there and pitch to them, because we'll give them the information they need to be protected 24/7.
It's good to know. Useful information, I hope, for anybody out there who hasn't thought about it. Art Mester with U.S. Law Shield, Wes Kozeny, attorney, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. Pleasure having us here.
Yeah, I appreciate having you come in for that. I thought it was a good subject, and hopefully some people learned something from it. All right, 314-969-9797. When we come back, we're going to talk to Roy Jarman. He is the Vice President of Operations for A Place to Grow. That's the daycare center over there in Troy where the little 4-year-old got basically suspended for 7 days because they brought a shell casing to school. Roy wanted to give us the other side of that story. We heard from the mom yesterday. It's all coming up right here on the Marc Cox Show.
You're listening to The Marc Cox Show. Dependable weather.
Clouds take control today. Chance of a couple of spotty
With Fox 2 meteorologist Dave Murray.
Brought to you by Air Comfort Service. Time to get your furnace ready for cool weather.